we still got to talk about the first year, Alex. You know what? It's tough to come back from a 4-0 deficit after the first, but once the emotion ramped up in the second period, I just thought we really started to come. We saw more structure of our game. The hound was on. We got rewarded for hard area goals, and that's what you got to take out of this, is how you build the next game, like you said. And I thought we did that in the second, third. We obviously got the game back to 1, but at the end of the day, it's not enough.
So that's the associate coach, Steve Ott, who joined us following the Blues' 7-4 loss to the Utah Mammoth. Welcome into our fourth period here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN. It's brought to you by First Community Credit Union, as we're live up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL, along with Joe Vitale. I'm Alex Ferrario, and Joe, I just want to jump right into it right there with what Steve Ott said. The biggest question right now for this Blues team is, how do you bottle up what we saw in the third period against the LA Kings, what we saw tonight in the second and the start of the third period against this Utah Hockey Club? How does this team and the coaching staff bottle up what they do there and just get it in the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, they have to. And, you know, to me, it's just going to start with physicality. You know, that's to me what shifted in the second period. You know, and that's the thing within the Blues' control. That's an attitude. You know, that's going to, obviously, the coach's message is going to be that. But it's really up to the players to go out and do it. You know, before that first goal, it was a bang of a Braden Shen forecheck hit. Now, he missed the defender, but, boy, he put everything into it.
And Joseph followed it up.
Joseph followed up with a couple. I mean, you felt bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, the crowd, you felt it. They started coming on the edge of their seats, and you felt, ooh, here we go, a little bit. And then you saw the Let's Go Blues chants. It led to the first goal for Pius Suter. Shortly after that, crowd really in it. All of a sudden, we got life. It's 4-1. You draw a penalty, you get a power play goal. Buchnevich gets on the board here in his 600th game, and now you're within 2. At that point, it's a completely different hockey game, right? Now the Blues are feeling good. They're going. They're driving. You know, it was a couple dagger plays tonight that really just kept that distance for Utah, and certainly the Clayton Keller one at the end of the second period when they're within 2, and I think they made it within maybe back to 3 at that point. That was a tough one. So to answer your question, on this next road trip with Detroit and Pittsburgh, the challenge is going to be, how do we play that hard-nosed physical style? Everybody needs to jump in. Everybody's skating. Everyone. The Jimmy Snuggaroos, the Robert Thomases. We're all moving our feet. We're going north. We're putting our chest, our shoulders through the bodies of the defenders, and we have to bring that physical brand, because you see when you do that, the ripple effect on the game, the way the ice tilts, maybe the defensive team is not so sure. They hesitate a little bit. That creates the offense, and that creates scoring.
And you start to get under the skin of the other team. Like what was very noticeable in that second period, and you guys broke it down in the broadcast, you started to see Utah get frustrated. You started to see Utah go out of their way. The Nick Schmaltz cross-check that the Blues were able to get that power play with. Like, they started to get underneath the skin. And, you know, what's noticeable, at least in that Chicago game, that Minnesota game, and the start of that LA game, was it was just too quiet. And that's a sample size of what the Blues can do.
Exactly. I think in a very small scale, the Nick Schmaltz penalty, the cross-check on Matthew Joseph after Joseph hit Schmaltz, that's the frustration, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of extra stuff after the whistle that, you know, Utah really didn't want to be a part of. I think a lot of it was the fact that they were ahead by 4, ahead by 3. You know, they didn't want to play that brand of hockey. You know, the Blues need to figure out what type of team they are right now. You know, and listen, every player in the league hopes and wishes they're on a Colorado Avalanche, Edmonton Oiler, Florida Panther type team, where you have stars, everyone's going in the same direction, all cylinders are pumping, and you can go out there and you just rely on that talent, right? You just find that rhythm and go. I don't know if this Blues team is in that position right now. I think they have to have a bit of an identity shift from wanting to be a rush team, fancy perimeter team. I think it's a check-in. And I think what they're going to check in with was the fact that we have to get back to hard-nosed hockey.
Yeah.
And listen, it's not fun. It's not fun to play that way they played in that second period. But I think that that's kind of the epiphany moment that they have to start rediscovering in themselves. That right now at this point in the season, and this can change, but right now, if we want to win games with the team that we have, the chemistry we have, with the young guys we have, with the struggling goaltending at time we've had, we have to play the hard-nosed, old-school style, Alex. If they're committed to it, they're going to have success. But if they're not, and they want to kind of go back to that perimeter rush, rely on speed, rely on talent, it's just not happening right now, and it's going to get out of hand pretty quickly. So it's going to be a big test here for Jim Montgomery to get this group to understand that and go out there and do it consistently.
Is that a player decision then, Joe? Because I feel like Jim Montgomery is preaching that now of like, hey, they got to have the work boot style. It's what this city loves. We know that they can win off of that. Is that a player decision?
It is. It's a player decision, and it starts with the captain, Braden Shen. And I'll be completely honest with you, he has done everything, in my opinion.
Everything.
He can't do anything else. The last 2 games, I mean, he was the one that got in the L.A. game. That was such a boring style of game. Both sides were defending great. But it was Shen's physicality that began things in the second period. And then you started to see Shen's going. He did it in tonight's game. In tonight's game, he had more passengers that turned into pilots with him. They were alongside with him for the ride. They said, okay, captain's going, I'm going too. L.A., I didn't see as much. But all that Braden Shen can do is be the leader. He can take charge, and he can say, okay, let's go. To me, Alex, when you say it's up to the players, it is up to the players. But it's that next layer of players after Braden Shen. You know, it's those sub-leaders. It's the Justin Falks, the Colton Parekos. It's the Jake Neighbors. I'm going to put him up there as well. It's the Pavel Buchneviches. It's those type of players, you know, the Dylan Holloways. They need that next layer right after Braden Shen brings that, because right now I think that's what's missing. You know, you have your captain going, but they're just missing that next group of guys to grab that flag or grab the body or grab any energy and ability and bottle it up and put it back in the right direction.
Well, and then they're also missing Joe on the power play. They had multiple chances to even up the score, pull themselves back into with one. I know they got the power play goal tonight, and Odd even said, like, that one was good, but they're passing up too many shots still. Do you see that also?
You do. You know, listen. The power play had a goal tonight. It was a fine power play. It was great, actually. However, there was 2 power plays at the end of the second. It's a 2-goal game. Gosh, you need one there.
Yeah.
You need one there. That's the difference in the power play making a difference in the game, or a power play being pretty good in the game. And they had a pretty good power play. You want to have a power play maybe win your game, steal you a point, you got to take advantage of one of those 2. They don't. Okay, let's start the third period. You get another penalty to start the third. Again, you're still down by 2. You can get within 1 here. They start with the second unit. They change things up. They try to go simpler. They just can't get the puck. They couldn't get the puck. They lost the face-offs. Ian Cole and Sergachev, they put on an absolute clinic, by the way, defensively. I mean, you got to tip their hat to them for sure. But the power play, they're looking for that Buchnevich little bumper play on that first unit. You know, they're looking for Snuggerud on the second. You know, I think that this is a clean wash. Let's just give a complete rinse cycle reset on the power play, and let's get back to just pounding pucks. I mean, that Sergachev shot from the outside that, of course, hit Schmaltz on the tip goal. That was a power play goal late. Listen, you got super skilled players out there. You got Schmaltz, you got Keller, you got Logan Cooley. I mean, these are world-class athletes. And the goal that they score is one from the outside. It's a simple wrist shot with a tip, and then it ends up going in. Also on Logan Cooley's earlier in the game. It's a shot from the outside. It's a tip, hits Bennington, rebound for Logan Cooley right there. So I think that is how the Utah Mammoth have success on power plays. And I certainly think that St. Louis can learn a lot from that to really simplify. Maybe it's more shots from Fowler. Maybe it's more shots from Justin Falk. Just get it through with a double screen, because that's where all the craziness begins to happen.
Joey, appreciate you swinging by, man. Hopefully this road trip can spark a little bit more consistency for the Blues. We'll talk to you from Detroit on Saturday.
Yeah, sounds good, Alex. I appreciate it. No, this is a good hockey team. This is a good hockey team. I really feel bad for Joe Hofer, because he's had 2 really tough starts. This is a great goaltender. I'll say it again. He is a fabulous goaltender. He's got an unbelievable attitude. He just has a little bit of a raw luck here. I think he didn't see that first one as it went off Ian Cole, and it looked like Justin Falk was screening him. He couldn't pick it up.
It's a snowball from there.
It just kind of snowballed. And, you know, he's in a tough spot right now, but he will bounce back. He's got an incredible attitude, and the Blues are in a good position with him. They just got to get his mojo back.
It might be good to get on the road to just not worry about the first goal going in on home ice. You had the Blackhawks one with this one, so probably the perfect opportunity. Joey, have a safe trip, man. We'll talk to you Saturday.
Thank you, Alex.
Here you go, Joe Vitale, and that is tonight's Ted Drew's 3 takeaways. Let's do this. Let's head right back down to the Blues locker room and hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, after tonight's 7-4 loss.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
Actually, you know, first 2.5, 3 minutes until the first goal was scored. It was just an up and down, even game. Teams playing fast, playing hockey. Don't like our response after we give up the first goal. The rest of the first period was very lackluster. Then I liked the way our team played after that. We built something. We improved our intensity. Our habits got better. You're down by 4 goals. It's going to be a tough task, and we got it close. Unfortunately, you know, we had opportunities on the power play to tie it up. We weren't able to do it. They got a power play and they extended the lead, and that sealed the game.
The Keller goal at the end of the second period, how much did that just kind of change momentum?
I don't think it did, because we came out in the third period, I thought, even better than we were in the second. We were attacking the net better offensively. I thought we were attacking the hard areas that we haven't done consistently enough this year. So I was happy that we weren't deterred by that goal, because it was deflating. Definitely was deflating.
Jimmy had the 3 power play chances and only got 2 shots on net.
Yep.
What do you see with the power play? Or the top end?
We're not converging at the net. That's what I'm seeing. Our eyes aren't on the goaltender. Our eyes are on the next pass. So if you're converging at the net, good things are going to happen, because you can outnumber people at the net usually. And right now we're getting the puck and we're coming away from the net. So we just need a little more convergence at the net, a little more desperation and urgency.
During one of the TV timeouts in the first period, you went over and talked to Joel. What kind of message did you want to send to him?
No, just that he's a really talented young goaltender, and we're going to work out of this. It's like our team's not playing well. Didn't have a good start tonight. You know what? He's going to go back. He's someone that we believe in. We know he's an extremely talented athlete, and he's really tough-minded. So I just let him know that we believe in him, and it's going to turn around.
Jim, how much are these preventable mistakes and made by guys that, you know, veterans that maybe you don't expect them to pay?
Well, I think it's really all over the board, not just tonight, but, you know, if you're looking at the season, we're giving up too many goals, right? And it's not the same line, it's not the same deep area, it's not the same people, it's not the same part of our structure that's failing at the moment. You know, it's always, so right now we just got to improve our intensity. If you improve your intensity, you make mistakes, the effort swallows that up. And we just got to get back to that, having 60 minutes where we just know what we're doing and we believe in how we're playing and we're going. Like, it's just not there yet.
How big of a concern is just the first period so far that you guys have played?
Yeah, I think played 7 games, 5 have been not good enough, 2 have been good.
Jim, how big of an issue do you think the defense is in terms of giving up a lot of goals, and the fact that you have to move guys around to protect the younger guys and mix partners and change things up? How big of an impact is that?
You know, obviously we're giving up many goals. I don't know if it has anything to do with that, you know, because when we've checked well, you know, we've had 3 games at home here where we haven't checked well. And, you know, Utah was really good tonight. Like, their transition, that's, you know, the best transition team we've seen. And so, you know, that, unfortunately, we didn't handle that well.
Your tone side's a lot different than 2 nights ago. Just where are you at mentally? Just kind of talking to the team and where they're at right now.
I was not happy the other night. So my tone was, you know, you guys recognized it. So you guys are good at what you do. But tonight, our response, was good. I feel like we kept coming back. We showed character tonight. We showed resilience. Now, would have liked to given ourselves an opportunity through our special teams to get a tie or have a pulled goalie where it's 5-4 instead of 6-4.
I know we've asked you this 2 or 3 times after home games, but can you pinpoint anything in terms of, you know, these games at home and why so many goals against here?
I can't, no.
There you go, Jim Montgomery, and he's not wrong. The 5 home games that the Blues have played, they have been outscored in the first period 12-2. They have given up 23 goals so far through 5 home games. And I went back and looked at this. It's something that has happened recently. Back in 2022, the first 5 games, the Blues gave up 22 goals. That was the year that they missed the playoffs. And then back in 2018, they gave up 23 goals, the same same amount that the Blues gave up in the first 5 home games. And, of course, we all know what happened in 2018. So if you're an optimistic person, you could say the Blues are going to win the Cup. If you're a pessimistic person, you'd say the Blues might miss the playoffs. But regardless, 23 goals in the first period in the first 5 home games, not to the liking of Jim Montgomery. I do agree with what he said in terms of you saw the Blues claw back, and it was a different claw back than the LA Kings game. The LA Kings game, as we talked about with Joe, was just a little bit quiet and boring, and they got the power play goal. They converted on it. This one was more of the Blues figured out what their identity was, and from the middle of that second period on, they score 4 goals, and Utah scores 3 goals, one of those being an empty netter. The problem was that first period, but you hope that this was a building block for that team that says, okay, we just discovered the identity. It was the aha moment, as Jim Montgomery referenced, about specifically Logan Mailloux, which we'll talk about on the other side. But you hope that comes away from this one for the team, and now they go out onto the road where they've picked up 2 wins already this season. So that's Jim Montgomery. We will take a break. We'll come back. We'll have our soundbite of the night, and we'll hit our final look. And again, our Ted Drews 3 takeaway with Joey V was brought to you by Ted Drews. Ted Drews, it really is good guys and gals. Again, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Our soundbite of the night and our final look before we close it down after a 7-4 final score. Blues fall to the Utah Mammoth. Alex Ferrario with you, and this is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues Postgame Show, presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut on 101 ESPN.
It goes flying in. There's no puck on the ice for the captain right now. I love the way this kid plays hockey. Oh, another big hit there by Matthew Joseph.
Sidestep Braden Shen, but Matthew Joseph caught up to him.
There's too much pride right there. That's your leader, and that's the way you have to play if you wear a C on your sweater.
Joseph gets a stick around his shoulder, then gets spun off. So after a small hold, the Blues get it to the front, shoot it on. Perico's there, they score! Suter, rough stuff, everybody, come on into the party as the Blues are on the board. Tyler Tucker, he's got Lawson Krause. Matthew Joseph is on the ice. Suter and Carcone have each other, making sure nothing goes on. And Suter has put the Blues on the board. And Joseph and Carcone are going to continue to chirp. Joseph definitely got under Carcone's skin on that one. How about a goal before all that stuff, Joe?
You know what? To me, it's not the goal. You got to go back before. How about this? Bang! There's Braden Shen. He's like a firecracker in a paint can. Right now, here's Joseph. Bang! Another one. A back-to-back.
defensive zone.
Firecracker in a paint can. Hopefully that's going to be a word that the Blues build off of and run with moving forward. That is our soundbite of the night. It's brought to you by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores. A 7-4 final score as the Blues fall to the Utah Mammoth. And yes, I know a frustrating loss without question, but I think Joey nailed it there. I mean, what they did to generate that goal is what the Blues need to bottle up for 60 minutes. It's the area that we just have not seen consistently yet from the Blues. You can talk about the goals given up in the first period. You could talk about the lack of shots on goal in the first period. All of those are facts. But what they need to is they need to bottle up that energy. And you saw Shen do it. Joseph did it. Joey's right. There were a lot more drivers than passengers in that area tonight. Nathan Walker earned himself significant ice time. He bumped up to the third line in this game tonight because of how he was playing, and also was a +2 with a goal, but played 13 minutes and 37 seconds of ice time. So you saw that brand of hockey that started to light a fire underneath the Blues. And in all reality, special teams is kind of what hurt them here tonight. As Jim Montgomery mentioned, you know, your power play just could not get you back to within one, or your power play could not even up the score. And then you took the penalty there with the Pius Suter delay a game on the faceoff, and that's essentially what put the game out of reach. So let's wrap things up tonight here on the fourth period, presented by First Community Credit Union as we take our final look.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
I think there's a couple of areas you obviously have to question. One is the goaltending. You know, we had Jeff Merrick on earlier today with BK and Ferrario, and he said the thing about the Blues is I have confidence they'll be a fine team. They just got to get some of the saves that they were getting last year. And some of it's puck luck, some of it's just bad luck for the goaltender, or whatever you want to chalk it up to. But Joel Hofer wasn't able to make those saves tonight, as the Blues have given up 5 or more goals in all three, or of 3 of their 5 home games that they have played in so far this year. And a lot of this is the goaltending. You heard Jim Montgomery mention that the Blues, he didn't like how they responded after that first goal that went in, and that's where the snowball really picked up for the Blues. So you ask the question about that one. The other question that I will be very interested to see is how the Blues handle it moving forward is the deployment of their defensemen. Tonight, I thought Philip Broberg was one of the best players on the ice. I mean, he was flying. 3 shot attempts, 1 on goal, 1 hit, 2 takeaways, played 22 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time, including almost 3 minutes on the penalty kill. But on top of that, Cam Fowler played north of 21 minutes. You had Colton Parayko north of 21 minutes and Justin Falk 22 minutes. Logan Mayhew's first game back, 10:37, and then Tyler Tucker played 13:43. So they got Tucker above the 10-minute mark, but it's figuring out how to deploy these defensemen. They are trying to take some of the guys away to put ideal pairings together for Logan Mayhew, and by the second period, the Blues were down by 4, and they needed to get their defensemen that they were comfortable with back out there, and it was Fowler, Parayko, it was Broberg and Falk, and then Tucker would kind of filter in for a couple of shifts, and I think Logan Mayhew only had a total of 2 shifts in that second period, maybe 1. So that's going to be an area that I'll be curious to see how the Blues handle moving forward, is trying to get a little bit more ice time, as they've talked about. It's a process. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Logan Mayhew because the Blues have made it very clear this is a longer process than worrying about game to game with Logan Mayhew. Again, Jeff Merrick talked about this in pregame, that this is not a forget how he framed it, but it's not a straight line walk. This is a bunny hop with defensemen, to where you hop forward and make progress and then you take a step backwards. It's one of those things that will continue to progress throughout, but more so it's just the deployment of the defensemen, because you can't, I guess you can. I shouldn't say you can't, but I don't know if you want to play the next 2 months with your top 4 guys eating north of 20 minutes every single night. So that will be an area of this one. But on a positive side, I do think what Joe Vitale said and what Jim Montgomery said is true. The goal, the task for the Blues is bottling up what they did in that second and third period and have it for 60 minutes. It is not a fun brand of hockey to play. It's not an easy brand of hockey to play. But the Blues are searching for an identity, and as Doug Armstrong has talked about in the past, it's a Wolfpack mentality. To have that Wolfpack mentality, you're going to have the top line playing like the bottom line, the 12th forward playing like the first forward, the 6th defenseman playing like the top defenseman. It's all going to be about that physicality and drawing everybody into the battle, because when the Blues got to that brand of hockey, they were the better team. It's just the first period, they were slow to get to that identity, and you got to find a way to do so. It's not going to be any easier, though, on this road trip. I know on paper you hear Detroit Red Wings and Pittsburgh Penguins, and you think, oh, that should be easy wins. Well, Detroit prior to tonight had won 5 in a row. Pittsburgh has been one of the better teams in their division. Both of those teams were expected to be bad and have started to play really well. So the Blues will have to be prepared for this 2-game road trip, as they'll play Saturday in Detroit, and then they'll play Monday in Pittsburgh, both on the road, and then they'll come home for a quick turnaround on Tuesday when they take on the Detroit Red Wings again. So Detroit, 2 out of the next 3 games for St. Louis. And again, they don't play the Central Division again until after Thanksgiving. So the Blues right now, 1-4 record in the Central, and no more games up until the Central Division. And I went back and looked at it the last 3 years up until Thanksgiving. Last year, the Blues were 0-4 against the Central Division. 2 years ago, 4-5-1 at Thanksgiving against the Central Division. And 3 years ago, they were 2-2 against the Central Division at Thanksgiving. So the Blues 1-4 in the Central, and they are 3-1 so far on the season. So that game on Saturday will be a 6 o'clock puck drop against the Detroit Red Wings, which means I've got your pregame skate starting at 5:30 on the Blues Radio Network, 5 o'clock for our extended pregame right here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN. As always, phenomenal stuff by our great producer, Grant Francis, back in our network studios. And a big shout out to Jim Hewer taking care of us up here in the broadcast booth tonight. I'm Alex Ferrario. Hope everyone has a great rest of their evening. I'll talk to you at 11 a.m. tomorrow for BK and Ferrario. And I'll talk to you at 5 o'clock on Saturday for Blues and Red Wings. And you'll hear right here on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues Postgame Show, presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our